because if they were deists, they wouldn't see a practical application of the Bible, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, and you're right, there's so much we could talk about here. A couple things about deism. The classical definition of a deist is someone who recognizes that there is a God, but believes that he's not intervening in the affairs of man. And if you think about what the scientific community believed at that point in time, the concept of evolution really hadn't been developed. That came later, about 1859, is when Darwin wrote his Origin of the Species. So they sort of had to acknowledge there was a God. Everyone acknowledged there was a God in that period. But their way of leaving God or distancing themselves from God was to say, well, okay, there's a God, but he's not involved in what's going on. And so that's one form of deism. And when people say they were deists, that's what they're implying, that they really didn't expect God for help, and they really weren't genuine in their faith. But if you read what they wrote, even the Declaration, that appeal, appealing to the supreme judge of the world for help. I mean, they're appealing there. Why were they appealing? Because they thought he would help. So it's a bogus argument. So many of these arguments, you have to realize that progressives are just throwing any argument they can to undermine and disparage the founding. And that's just one of the many. Now, one other thing I would say about deism, because it is true that deism in that era also meant that a person could look at what was happening in the physical world and understand it and seek to understand it. So this is what guys like Isaac Newton, all the famous scientists who, by the way, were almost all Christians, and they believed that the universe was divinely ordained and that it could be understood. And so one form of deism was to look at the world around you and try and figure out how it works. And so from a scientific standpoint, yeah, they were deists. They were trying to figure it out. But from a theological standpoint, they were not deists. They absolutely believed that God was involved, and they recognized him. They had the prayer proclamations, and wonderful quotes that prove that they were not deists. I have a lot of those in my books to help people with substantiating that claim.
For sure. Yeah. There's many, many great quotes in the book. And I think the progressives are looking for any way to undermine Christianity and the founding.